Well, here we go.
Notice how light colored these walleye are? Just one of the hooks is in the top part. Mike, you are hot. Nice healthy walleye, and it's yellow.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you by Rapala Premium Fishing Gear, crafted from experience. Yamaha on the water. This is my Yamaha. What kind of Yamaha are you? Dickies, a legend in work since 1922. Lucky Strike. More fish fight with a Lucky Strike.
You know, all across Canada, there's certain types of fishing that happen at certain times of the year. And right now, it's about the middle to end of April, and we're here on the Detroit River. We've got the state of Michigan on one side, and of course, the province of Ontario on the other. And we're fishing for walleye that are migrating up from Lake Erie and also coming down from Lake St. Clair and Lake Huron into the St. Clair River in the Detroit River. And with me today is Mike Atkins and also Pat Pagano. We're using the 3-point system here. I'm working jigging off the front of the boat, and they're working off the back of the boat. And these are good friends of mine that I've been fishing with for a long time, and they keep their ears open, and as soon as they hear that the fishing is good here on the river, they come down. And you can see that we've got lots of fishermen out, whether it's below us here or across on the Michigan side. A lot of people are either trolling and doing something that's called hand lining here on the Detroit River, or they're vertical jigging the way we are. So this is a great social way to fish because you can talk, you know, there's not an awful lot of commotion going on. So Mike, how are you doing? You're retired now?
I'm retired and I'm loving it. And,
so your schedule must be full of fishing or golfing, right?
Fish on.
Mr. Pagano.
Here we go.
Oh, is he still on? Okay, let me get the net. Take your time so that he doesn't shake that hook off. Pat, you know, I haven't had a chance to really talk to you while here. How have you been doing? Have you been playing much?
Excellent. Yes, I'm very busy every weekend.
Good.
A lot of music.
For those of you that may not know, Pat is a world-class flutist. So he's performed all over the world, and when he's not fluting, he is...
all right.
When he's not fluting, he is catching walleyes. So this is a little guy for starters. The one thing that we found here on the Detroit River is that a lot of times these fish hit so light. This is a small eater fish, but we're going to be releasing it. The fish hits so light that you have to use a stinger hook. So later on we're going to explain.
It's a flying fish.
Did you like that?
Nice catch.
He's not getting away. I'm like a bear. So that guy is about 14, 15 inches, and it's the first fish. We're going to release it. And one thing you'll notice here on the Detroit River, the fish are very light colored. This guy's almost like a silver. There he goes.
All right.
He's gone. But this kind of fishing will last from about now, which is about the middle of April, right through till almost June. The only thing that changes is that the fish will go a little bit shallower, and most of the people will be bottom bouncing using a worm harness and a worm. So right now, because the fish are deeper, we're fishing in about 30 to 40 feet of water. We're vertical jigging because the fish are right on the bottom. So this is a fantastic fishery. There may be hundreds of thousands or millions of walleye that come into the Detroit River in the springtime. And it's so simple, you can fish out of a small boat, and we've seen lots of little boats like John boats and 12-foot aluminums. Haven't seen anybody fishing out of a kayak or a canoe. And of course the larger bass boats and fishing boats like this. But it's very easy fishing. It's chat time. The only thing we need is some hors d'oeuvres.
Yes, we can take care of that later, no problem.
Okay, good. But what if it's the fishing's so good we're not going to be able to stop to have anything to eat?
Right now we can think about golfing while we're fishing.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, here we go.
All right, Mike. You know what I like to do? Have I told you, Mike, that I like to be very courteous when I go to other people's places? It's almost like the visitors playing against the home team.
Oh, okay.
I usually let the home team get most of the fish. Did you see how I got that guy?
That was very good. You're getting really good at netting, I tell
He
you.
didn't have a chance to swim out of the net. Now, I got to be careful here. The reason I'm putting the net down is because we're using these stinger hooks. You know what? The stinger hook is in the net, so this net is not hard to get the hook out of, so I'll let you take that out.
Okay.
We're using the stinger hooks and putting the net down because you don't want the fish to shake. If that stinger hook is loose, you could get it in your hands. Okay, so notice how light colored these walleye are. They're almost bleached. You don't really see the yellow in here. We got one fish yesterday because we have been here pre-fishing, of course, that's part of my job. Mike got a really nice fish that was like your traditional yellow walleye. I'm just going to take a quick measurement on this fish. I'm guessing, Mike, that it's about 18 inches. 18 inches.
18?
Yeah, perfect eating size walleye. Now, guys, there's no restrictions here on size. There's no slot limit, right?
No.
6 fish limit?
Yes.
6 fish limit.
Yeah. I guess the average size fish here is like this one, about 3 to 4 pounds. So they're beautiful fish. Now you'll see how fast this guy takes off. No problem, because they've got so much energy.
High five.
You know, I can tell you guys are pros. You know, there's a lot of industry here on the Detroit River on both sides, the Canadian and the American. And at one time, that industry really created problems for the water quality in Lake Erie. But in the last 20 or 30 years, the water has become very clean. Okay, I'm going to try to swing him around. He's just on the stinger hook. And today the water quality is very good. And these fish that are caught here on the Detroit River are excellent eating. So it's amazing how, you know, a system that suffered so much from all the industry now is producing great walleye like this. It's going to get this guy back in the water. Pat, that was a beautiful net job.
Dickey's Sport Fishing Sweepstakes.
We were chilling with bottom bouncers and spinners, and I was eating my cereal, and oh my god, boom, it just pulled right down. I could tell I got it, and then my daddy got it in the net, and then we put it in a live well.
We'd love to hear your fishing story. Go to our website and enter the Dickey's Sport Fishing Sweepstakes. It's free, and you could win some great prizes.
The most popular rig here on the Detroit River is undoubtedly a jig head with a plastic grub. The weight of jig head can vary anywhere from about a ½ ounce right up to about 3/4 ounce, and this is a 5/8. And a round jig head is the most desirable because of the current and the depth that you're fishing at. Now, believe it or not, they don't use a lot of bait here. Most of the guys that are using jigs are using a plastic grub, and they're not using twister tails. They're using plastic grubs that have a straight or no action tail, like this 4-inch plastic worm. Also, a finesse minnow in the 4-inch size works really well. The only problem is because the water temperature is cold. For example, today the water temperature was 52 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold. A lot of the walleyes will grab the back of the grub and you actually feel them on for a split second, and either you get your grub cut or it pops off and you miss the fish. So what pretty well everybody does down here that's in the know, they add a stinger hook, and that's what I'm holding up in my hand here. You'll notice this is a piece of monofilament line about 1.5 inches long with a little number 10 treble hook. And this is a stinger hook that you can buy in a 3-pack in a store. You can see that it's got a little loop of line with a little bit of compound that's like rubber. That's designed to be impaled by the hook and then slid over the barb. That way it can't go back up like that. Once you have it on there, you make sure that your worm lays as straight as possible and you tack on your hook. So this rig is ready to go for walleye right there. Now it's very easy to make these stinger hooks. Let me just show you ones that I made before coming down here. All I did was take a split ring, which I have inside this little bit of surgical tubing, a piece of fluorocarbon material, 10-pound test, and then I've used a snell and tied it onto a number 10 treble hook. Okay, by taking a small piece of surgical tubing and inserting it over the split ring, you're literally doing the same thing. So here's one that's ready to go. There's my split ring with my rubber tubing and my hook. So all I would do is take that, I would pierce it through the hook. The rubber tubing stretches, so it's not going to go anywhere. See how it stays right there? And then I would take my hook again, even though I've got my first stinger in there, this is just to demonstrate. I would put my small hook in there so that it's straight. Okay, so very easy to make these stinger hooks, and you can remove them off whenever you don't want to use them. You can make them any length that you want. If you use stinger hooks when fish are hitting light, you're going to catch more fish. Head shaking. You guys are awfully quiet at the back of the boat.
Oh yeah, I think you're catching all the fish up there.
Are you
I think the fish
studying
are
the
at the front of the
technique?
boat.
Well, what I've done is I've gone down to a lighter jig head, and this guy is just on the stinger hook, so I hope he stays on, because the viewers will appreciate it, how well these stinger hooks work. Here,
Nice
see if
fish.
I can lead him. Look at, oh, good head shake. Perfect eating size, eh?
Nice.
See if he'll, you can see maybe even through the net
Wow.
that there's about a 4-inch distance. Maybe if you hold it
Yep.
horizontally, I'll grab it. This just goes to show you how well these stinger hooks work. There's a 4-inch distance at least between the jig head and the tail of this plastic worm. And you can see that little treble hook, just one of the hooks is in the top part of the walleye. Now, why the walleye hits so lightly, I don't know, but I know that the stingers work really well. I mean, if you wouldn't have the stinger hook, there's no way, you know.
You're going to miss a lot of fish.
Yeah.
of
You
course.
miss a lot of fish, yeah.
I love the average. This fish is probably about 16, 17 inches long. They've been like 18 inches, 17 inches, you know, over 20. Beautiful fish. Just going to put it down again. You're probably saying to yourself, why is he releasing all those nice walleye when they're so good to eat? Well, Mike and Pat catch walleye all the time. And we were out yesterday pre-fishing, and we did get some eating-sized walleye, and we kept a few for eating. Now, you'll notice that the rod that I'm using looks a little bit different because it's not a full grip. And I want to explain to you how important it is when it comes to choosing rods, especially when you're bouncing bottom and sensitivity is important. This type of a grip on this rod is called a split grip. And the reason it's called that, you'll notice that you have the reel seat here with the grip, then you have the blank of the rod exposed, and then you have the butt of the rod. If you take a close look under here, you see where the reel seat is of the reel? You can actually see the blank of the rod in there. So literally, the reel is onto the rod. It's not onto a piece of plastic that's here. And also, notice at the front here that there's no cork. This is where the actual mechanism that you put, I'm going to just undo it for you so you can see it. Okay? This is hard plastic. There's my reel. If I take my finger off, my reel would fall off. So I'm just going to move that back down. When I have my hand on this particular rod and reel, you'll notice that my fingers are on the rod here. I don't have any cork. And also where my fingers are here, the blank is underneath. This makes for a very sensitive outfit, especially if you use braided line. And I'm using 15-pound titanium braid, which is 6-pound test monofilament diameter. I've got a couple of rods here that are split grip, and I'll just show you the difference. This is my bait caster that's right here, and you can see that it's a split grip. These particular ones are called X grip. And then I've got another one which is a little bit higher end. It's more modulus. It's called a TS2. And you can see that it's also split grip. And if I turn to the front of it, you can see that even where you have the front, that's a cork handle, notice how they've taken out some of the metal. So it almost looks like a gear in there. That's just to increase the sensitivity. And the same thing, the blank is right under here. And then it's, of course, it's split grip at the back. So if you look at all three of these split grip rods, you'll notice that some are a little bit longer, the back here, so you got a little bit more of a fighting butt, some a little bit shorter. So this one's the shortest, medium length, longer, okay? The longer it is, the more you can put it on your arm when it comes to setting the hook. So the first thing I tell parents is that when they buy a fishing outfit for kids, they should consider how tall the kids are. Would you mind standing up for just a minute? Okay, for example, for a girl your size, this would be the longest rod you should be using, not longer. And this rod is probably about 5 feet long. This rod is a little bit shorter. Okay, so the reason I tell parents and kids that they should get rods that are about their height is because when you're fishing with the fishing rod, like this one, if the rod is too long, when you go to cast, you can hit things that are behind you or even bump into other people that are fishing beside you. So the shorter the rod, like this one, if you hold it in your hand, the less chance that you're going to hook the ground with your line or hit things around you. Also, they're not as heavy. When you get into a longer fishing rod, they're much heavier. And for a young person, if it's heavy, they can get tired of holding it.
Right.
Okay, so choosing the right fishing rod is very important. So for your size, either one of these rods would work fine.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Slimers in organic flesh bait. Fish hit hard and often with Slimers.
You know, I'm amazed we don't have more boats out here. Why do you think there aren't that many boats out here, Mike?
I think because that rain we just got out here, we just got them on the stinger too.
Okay, about a half an hour ago, we had a bit of a rain go through. See if we can get him in the net. Oh, he threw the hook. Okay.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
Just had him on the
popped out
stinger.
of his mouth. About a half an hour ago, we had a pretty heavy rain shower come through, and a lot of people left the water. Look at the average of the walleyes that we're catching here. You know, for people that love to eat fish, this is a great fishery.
Yes.
Now, I don't think a lot of the guys that are out here, the locals, release their fish, right?
They'll keep their limit and then,
come
release them. Yeah.
come back out.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at how light they are, you know, compared to the fish. I do a lot of fishing in the Bay of Quinte, and you're cranking along the weed lines, and the fish are really bright gold all along the bellies. We've just seen one that had a little bit of yellow in it yesterday. All of these are pretty well like a milky silver color, and that's because of the water here in the Detroit River. You can see how much energy these fish have. Look, he's going around in circles. Come on, come on, come on. He wants to go against the current. There he goes. He's off. All right.
All right.
Good one, Mike. You brought him up pretty quick.
That's,
It's another eating size fish.
yeah, he's right by the lip too. Another stinger hook too.
Yeah.
Look at that, right by the
You
stinger.
know, for how long you guys go out, let's say on an average day, you guys fish 3 or 4 hours. What's the average catch out here on the river?
Well, we can limit it. When they're running really, really good, you can limit out within the first hour. Your 6 fish limit per person.
That's amazing. And it's been
Yeah.
like this for years?
For the
Ever
last
since?
3 or 4 years anyhow, yes.
Now,
for
you've,
sure.
you've actually been born and you've grown up in this
Yeah.
area, right?
Yeah.
Bell River area and so on?
Yeah.
Do you think the fishing has remained the same, or it's gotten better, or a little worse? How is it
I think it's been getting better myself personally, because you can see the fish size are a lot healthier now,
Right.
and the size are perfect eating size fish. So a
Now,
lot of
even
new
in the
fish.
old days, did they used to jig like this or not? Like, does this go back, this technique that we're doing?
Well, when I was a young boy, no, we didn't fish like this. We used live bait back then. We didn't know about all this new modern technology stuff.
Well, a lot of
that
the
they
plastic
had,
stuff
but,
wasn't on the market. Jigs,
yeah.
I'm sure, were
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, we used to use worms and minnows when we were younger.
Now, if you watch my rod tip, you'll notice that every once in a while it really shakes. That's because the jig hits the bottom. So the technique that we use here on the Detroit River is vertical jigging, but one of the things that really helps to know that your jig is hitting the bottom is having your line as vertical as possible. That's why it's called vertical jigging. So how do you do that? Well, when it's windy and we've got a current here of about 3 to 4 miles an hour, it can be very challenging. So every once in a while, I use my electric to thrust the motor forward or to adjust it left and right. Okay, so this is very important to have foot control electric. And also, you can see right here, I'm running a sonar, and because we're fishing for walleye that are close to the bottom, I have this sonar on a split screen. So the actual true depth, which is 35 feet, is shown here on the right. And then you see this little box, that's my zoom window. So on the left, we're only seeing from 25 to 34 feet. So I can see a lot of detail. Right now, there's quite a few bait fish, all those little blue specks that are down there. They're bait fish, and even bait fish here near the bottom when you see that green color. So when I see a red mark that's not connected to the bottom, I know that it's a walleye, and these walleyes are right on the bottom. A lot of times we'll actually drag our jig or shake our jig right on the bottom. But it's so important to be fishing the right depth, and for the last few days the depth has been about 30 to 35 feet. We're in 34 right now, and the technique is bouncing it right on the bottom, and that's how you're going to get fish. Mike, you are hot.
Oh, look at
Nice
this one. This is a
walleye.
nice
I
one.
saw
Here's-
it. Nice
here's a good
fat
one here.
fish. Yeah, just-
Let me
yeah.
get you over here.
Don't slip into the river. It's not worth it, even though you have your personal flotation device. This is a nice thick
That's a
one.
nice size.
I'm going to see if I can gently get my hand underneath its gill without going into the actual gill rakers. Right there. If you can hold the net,
Yeah, got it for
I'm
you.
going to try to get the hook out because it's got all wrapped around here. There. Come on. You know, when you're using the stinger hooks and a main hook, it's quite easy to, I'm going to have to just lay it down for a minute for the fish to get tangled up in the line. See if I can get the one out. Okay. And the stinger is out. Perfect.
that's
Look
beauty.
at that.
That's beauty.
Nice walleye. I mean, you guys are good. You've been getting lots of fish. That fish is probably about, I'm guessing, 23, 24 inches. Just a nice healthy walleye. And it's yellow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them are a gray color. Beautiful fish. Okay. Well done, Mike.
I love
Pat,
this net. I'll
yeah, the
tell
net
you.
is excellent.
I'm going to
even
have
though,
to get one of these
Even
for
though
sure.
the hooks go in it,
Yeah.
because it's rubber coated,
that's
there's no
amazing.
problem getting the hooks out. If you use the cotton mesh,
amazing.
it's all kinds of problems. Now, Pat,
Yes,
you know, I'm excited about the event that you just had, the ICHA
of course.
event. You should tell the viewers some of the highlights of it, because every year you put on this event, which is great for the community here in the
Yes, it's
Windsor
getting-
area.
That's right. It's getting bigger and bigger. There's more sponsors, more companies donating tackle, fishing rods, t-shirts, hats for all the kids, and including the Coast Guards, the Ministry of Natural Resources, and actually this year's surprise, we're going to have some hockey celebrities.
Good.
So the kids, they will be very excited.
Now, what's been the main goal? I know it's not just to put on a fishing event. What is the actual goal of the event?
The actual goal is to have these kids have fun with fishing. It's something that they don't do every day. It's actually probably the only time chance they have to do some fishing, and we have all pro fishermen helping the kids.
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you by Rapala Premium Fishing Gear, crafted from experience. Yamaha on the water. This is my Yamaha. What kind of Yamaha are you? Dickies, a legend in work since 1922. Lucky Strike. More fish fight with a Lucky Strike.
So we've been experimenting because you're not sure. Oh,
Oh,
this
look
is
over here.
interesting here.
Oh.
Let's see. Let's get this guy in. So what is that? Is that a carp? It's not a sucker. You guys know what this is or not?
No.
Looks like a carp to me.
You know what? I think this might be a quillback. You know why I know it's not a carp? Let me bring this up here for the viewers to see. This is interesting. Look, no barbels. You know where barbels are? The little whiskers that a carp has? Look, you know a carp has little whiskers at the front?
Yeah, that's right.
No whiskers, right?
Yeah.
And see the way that dorsal fin is up? This might be a fish called a quillback. I'm not making that up. So it's very, very interesting. It's not